Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to everyone's favorite show about plastic surgery, health, and beauty. This is Nip Talk. We got an awesome show for you today. First off, Kylie Jenner, plastic surgery revelation. She said it wasn't true, but now we know it is, and we're going to talk about it. After that, are there plastic surgeries that you shouldn't have before kids? And lastly, we're going to talk about the UFO hearings in Congress. Crazy stuff, and it's coming up now.
Live from Lincoln Center in the heart of the Dallas Metroplex, this is Nip Talk. An honest and uncensored show about plastic surgery, health, beauty, and lifestyle with your host, plastic surgeon Dr. Bruce Hermann, and your co-host, entrepreneur and social media influencer Sarah Bennett. Now it's time to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly of the topics everyone is talking about. It's time for Nip Talk.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. Please leave us a like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. We want to hear from you. I'm your host, plastic surgeon Dr. Bruce Hermann. With me, as always, is the wonderful Sarah.
Hi.
How you doing today, Sarah?
Good.
In the box, we got Travis. What's up, man?
Hey, what's happening? What's happening?
How's everybody's week? Doing good?
Yeah,
Pretty good.
We've been pretty good.
It's hot.
Cannot complain. It's very
It
hot.
is hot, and I actually have.
I'm hot right now.
Is it?
I'm like hot.
So if you're not from Texas, Texas is really hot right now. It's getting kind of crazy.
It's toasty.
It's toasty, and so I actually got an unfortunate story. So. I'm actually driving around this whole week in a vehicle without air conditioning, which, yeah, so my truck, which I normally drive, it was acting kind of wonky last week, and I was like, I better take it in, just I don't want to have it break down.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, it didn't
break down on the side of the road in this heat. Blech.
Well, plus, I'm jetting, every day, I work in a lot of different hospitals, and so, I'm going from place to place, and, if a car breaks down, I could call Uber, but then I'm just delayed and my schedules are pretty tight. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to be, an adult and I'm going to take my car in before it breaks. Be responsible.
Yeah.
And so my backup vehicle is my old 77 Chevy Blazer, which I love to drive, but apparently all the Freon leaked out of it because the AC doesn't work. And man, let me tell you, it's hot.
Yeah.
But I do have that 270 AC. Have you heard of it?
No.
Yeah, you roll down two windows and you go 70 miles an hour.
So you pretty much are in a hair dryer.
I'm in a wind tunnel, man. It's just it's like you're inside the hair dryer. You get the super heated air coming in there.
Yeah.
But it's better than not doing it because otherwise you literally will burst into flames. So you can either be inside a hair dryer or you can melt. So yeah, but.
I've been working out in this heat, and it's
I have to.
Disgusting.
So I have to actually. I told you I started running again.
Yes.
And I've been pretty good with it.
What time of day do you go running?
I don't get home until later. So I usually run around between 7 and 8.
Well, that's a good time.
Yeah, it's still 100, legitimately.
Yeah, but at least you don't have the sun.
Right, the sun's not beating down on you, and so. I'm actually used to it. I grew up here, and so I used to work out in the summer heat all the time. So I don't mind working out in it, because you're sweating anyway. So it's
yeah.
I
feel it adds to the to the gains.
I feel like you're right. I feel like I am burning more calories because I'm running when it's 100 degrees.
You just gotta stay hydrated.
Yeah, totally.
I'm really bad about that.
My wife, whenever I go for a run, she's like, please don't die while you're gone. If I'm not back in 30 minutes, call 911.
Yeah, that's when I do most of my yard work is I'll go to the gym, and then when I come home, I'll fiddle with my flower beds or something when it's the shade is actually outside from my house or, the sun's just going down.
Yeah, I tell you, man, this summer, I feel like this summer's a bad one. I guess it is because the news is talking about it.
I feel like every year is bad.
I thought last year was pretty. I was trying to convince my wife the other day that last summer was really mild, and I don't know why I thought that. I just thought it was, and she's like, "No, there was record 100-day heats." I'm really was last summer bad?
Yeah, I was watching some video, and it was saying what do you think about this heat? It's crazy, and it was 3 years ago, and I'm like. So it's just every year, and people just blow it out of proportion.
Well, it is Texas in the summer. It's always hot.
It is always hot.
Yeah, I remember some summers back when I was young that were just so brutal you couldn't go outside. That's how I feel this one is.
Yeah.
It's pretty nasty. So.
Always hot.
But I still am going outside. It's just I don't. It's funny. I go to let my dogs out, and they'll take one step outside. They're like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna go pee in the flower bed.
Death.
Yeah, right. So
I've taken probably the most cold showers I've taken.
Yes.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah, this summer, since ever.
It's good for you, anyways.
You know, when it's really hot, it's nice to take a cold shower. You know, I'll sometimes like thankfully we have a pool, so like if I go run, I usually jump in the pool, but then I like jump into like a cold shower and.
That's what I do after I get done working out.
I've heard it's good for you. I've heard it's like beneficial.
I think you like clears your pores or something if you jump in a cold shower.
It's good for your cardiovascular system.
How so?
The shock of it. There's like it was one of my segments that I wanted to do.
Okay, well.
I'll talk about it next time because a lot of my friends do.
Yeah.
The hot
I know you have one
therapy.
coming up next week, but the one after that.
Yes.
I want to hear about this. And by the way, speaking of segments, remember we were talking about mindfulness?
Yes.
And I said I was going to do the video about the eating the Cheez-It. I didn't do it because, let me tell you why. I thought about it. There's a book, the best book for mindfulness is called Wherever You Go, There You Are. Allegedly. Yeah. I'm just saying that. I looked up I actually went and did some research and I was like, what's the best mindfulness book? And that one kept popping up. And so I don't know if it's really the best, but I'm going to buy it and I'm going to read it. And then I'm going to do, what did I say? A 2-minute video of eating a Cheez-It, or was it 1 minute?
Just like enjoying a Cheez-It?
Yeah, like yes. Wait, right now what we talked about, Travis?
Yeah, I think it was like either 1 or 2 minutes. I don't remember exactly the time.
I'm going to try to shoot for 2 minutes about eating a Cheez-It using the mindfulness book.
And just put one of those like really moving songs that's like really trending on TikTok, where most people have like a picture of their child.
And they have a very inspirational voiceover. Like, you're not actually talking, it's just the voiceover. Like,
oh, that is good, dude. I'm going to do that, man. It's going to be so good. Yeah, so anyway, I wanted to read the book. So I haven't figured out about that. I'm going to need a couple weeks to make this happen, but I want to like learn about the mindfulness and I want to do the Cheez-It video, but I need a little bit of time. So everyone out in the interwebs, you have this crazy nonsense to look forward to. So, all right, well, let's move on to some segments. So big news this week. I assume you heard Kylie Jenner announcing that she had plastic surgery. Yeah,
I didn't know. I mean, I've always known that. She just pretended like she didn't.
Well, you know, and I'm going to tell you, because we were talking about her last week because of the whole aging filter and when I was doing research for that segment, it was talking about, you know, had she had plastic surgery on her face, and I thought she hadn't, but I didn't really look at anything else, and so for those who don't know, on the latest episode of The Kardashians, Kylie came out and said that she had gotten a breast augmentation when she was 19 years old, and she actually kind of regretted it, and so actually that's going to be our next segment is, you know, are there plastic surgeries you shouldn't have before kids? Because she was saying that, you know, she thought she had her great breasts, but then she got the augmentation, then she got pregnant, and I guess things got kind of away from her a little bit. And so, so that was pretty big news because she always kind of denied having plastic surgery. I think specifically, though, she had denied having plastic surgery on her face.
Yeah, but there's so many TikTok videos of these people just like over-analyzing all of her pictures.
It is crazy,
videos.
Yeah. And
there's like this picture, like this video where some TikToker had like zoomed in on her neck and you can like see where it's like cinched, where like she might have gotten something done. I don't know, as a plastic surgery.
I mean, it would be like a neck lift, you know, or something like that.
So just random stuff.
I mean, not to like beat a dead horse, but I started looking into it and I was like, okay, well let's kind of, you know, everyone's talking about Kylie Jenner and plastic surgery, so let's talk about it and see what we think. So after I kind of looked, so I flipped through her old Instagram pictures and pulled them up, and so once I saw her kind of before, after this alleged augmentation, I mean, it's clearly obvious. So Travis, throw up that first picture if you would. So there's, I think she's 16 or 17 in that picture on the left. And then there's her at like 19 or 20. I mean, as a plastic surgeon, I look at that, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like her breasts are so much fuller in that right picture. And if she had gained a bunch of weight, you might say, okay, well, maybe she just gained weight in her breasts. But looking at how top heavy her breasts are, like natural breasts generally don't sit like that. So, you know, I kind of looked at that picture and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious that she'd had a breast augmentation, and I just had never.
But at the same time, it's like, who cares?
Right, yeah, exactly. I mean,
I know.
I mean, I obviously, as a plastic surgeon, I'm not going to be.
You're like, good job, they look great.
Yeah, I was like, she looks amazing. I mean, she's a beautiful girl. And I have to say, this is probably the first time I've really kind of looked into her, like, over the years. Like, she has changed a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, the thing is they started, like, she was in the media when she was just like an early teenager, you know,
and she had to keep up with her sisters, who were her half sisters, who she doesn't look like.
No, not really
that much at all, and like I think that side of the family is naturally more like voluptuous.
Right.
Because look at Kylie's sister, Kendall. She is like a needle. Like she's just like needle thin, very small features. She doesn't have like a big butt, big hips.
And so, and Kylie was kind of like that too in her earlier pictures when she was, like 13 or whatever. I mean, there was a slew of them on the internet, like comparing her.
She's embraced her Kardashian side.
She has. Well, the first thing that she did, I think, was the lip filler because she naturally had pretty thin lips. So throw up that next picture, Travis.
Very thin.
That's her at like 14 on the left and then 15 on the right. And so looking at her upper lip, I mean, it looks pretty clear that she had gotten some fillers in between those two pictures.
This was also back then where because we're around, she's younger than me, but like at this stage, like trending for makeup, like girls didn't wear lipstick that often. It was like it was almost like an old lady thing to wear
really?
lipstick. Yeah, like girls
natural.
didn't wear lipstick.
Interesting. I missed that. Well,
but like now it's like lipstick is like really popular now.
Yeah. So it looks like that she continued that trend though, because like the next year her lips started to get even a little bit larger, and then she starts to look more kind of like she does now.
Yes.
So yeah, I think definitely early on that she was getting lip filler, which is a little odd. I mean, if my daughter, at 14 wanted to get a lip filler, I'd be like, I don't think we're gonna do that. But I mean, obviously Kylie lives a different life. She's in the media, all the time with the show, and so I get it. I mean,
and now she has an empire about her lips.
Yeah, exactly.
Her lip gloss company,
which is crazy because she started out with
nothing,
with really thin lips, and then she is just kind of built this. Yeah, you're exactly right. Build an empire out of something. I guess it's the wonders.
It was all part of the momager plan.
The wonders of fillers.
Jenner.
So the next thing that people were talking about with her as far as plastic surgery goes is whether or not she had a nose job. And so I never really thought she did. I looked at some of her pictures when she was young, and then I looked at some of them when she was older. And so let me throw up the next one, Travis. So this is where people, no, I think it's the one after that. Is it, or is it that one?
So I only have that one.
Okay. Yeah. No, I guess that one is it. Yeah, because
I think it's her makeup.
I do too. And so that's what I was going to say.
Because there's stages of my life when I was a teenager that I didn't know how to do my makeup. My nose looked like really wide.
Right. And I agree with you because there was some big plastic surgeons on the internet looking at these two pictures and saying, this is where Kylie got a nose job. And I kind of disagree.
I think that's straight up makeup.
Well, there it is, Travis. That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, okay.
You can tell that's makeup. Like, look at the dark shadows, like right here.
So, and plus too, as you age and you get into your later teens, like your face does change. I mean, your nose does not stay the same from the time you're 13 till the time that you're 18. And so, there are a couple pictures where it looks like her nose, looks slightly thinner, but I think it's either lighting or makeup. I think I'm not, I wouldn't bet my life on that, but. I mean, if I was a betting man, I would say that she hasn't had a nose job. I mean, to me, her nose looks too similar. Even when you pull up pictures of her from, more recently.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look that different than she did when she was 13 or 14, except that, her face has changed. And so, and her makeup changes and the lighting changes. So, all these plastic surgeons out there saying that think she got a nose job. I mean, I'm not saying 100% she didn't, but I don't think she did. I mean, as you said, makeup can do a lot.
One of my really close guy friends, he was like, Sarah, did you get a nose job?
Really?
I was like, no, I just do my makeup differently.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't seen me in a long time.
Well, and you've seen those videos, and I think we even had one on the show one time where it showed how people were using makeup to completely, change their look.
Yeah, it's like contouring.
Yeah, right.
I used to never put makeup right here to make my nose. If you put darker shade right here on the sides of your nose, it makes it seem a little bit thinner.
Right.
And you put a highlighter tone on top, and your nose can completely change. Just like the way you put darker tones at your cheekbones right here to make it look. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I kind of agree with you. So what do you think? Do you think she had a nose job? What do you think, Travis?
I don't think she had one. I think she's just so popular that people just speculate.
Oh, totally. Man, people make careers.
I think she definitely gets Botox.
I do too.
Stuff.
And that goes along. I mean, for sure she gets fillers, and I'd say probably Botox too. Her skin is just perfectly smooth. She probably does She probably does lasers too, like, and, you know, and she's kind of young for that stuff. But hey, I mean,
if she wants, I mean, I guess if she wants to look in her 20s her entire life, then that's the way to go.
That'd be terrible, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's horrible.
I'm 68.
I mean, if that's what you want to be.
So you get carded for liquor. You're like, no, I'm 65.
I have 5 grandchildren.
So I actually, it's funny, depending on the clothes I wear.
Actually, I'm buying this for my grandchildren.
I've gotten carded in the past year. Because sometimes, you know, depending on how my hair looks and what I'm wearing, especially if I'm wearing like a ball cap or something, like I can pass for pretty young, and it makes me feel good whenever I get carded. You know, when you're young and you get carded, you're like, you're all like, you know, angry about it, and then you get old and you're like, please card me.
I always get carded when I'm dressed like a very...
I would card you. You look super young. I'm old, man.
I don't get carded. Like if I go in somewhere like this, I don't get carded. But if I go somewhere like at a liquor store and I'm like just wearing like a t-shirt and like a pair of shorts and my hair is like in a bun, no makeup, they're like, what are you doing here? The 7-Eleven's over there. Get your candy down the street, weirdo.
Oh my God.
I'm not a big drinker, but I've never gotten carded before.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten carded. They probably just say he's an old man.
It's because you're tall.
I guess so. That could be it too. But yeah,
I had a really tall guy friend in high school, and everybody went to him to like go buy like tobacco or something, and he was just like a big dude. He had like a full beard already. Yeah. And they'd be like, I mean, go to that gas station.
Dude, totally.
This one.
I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. When we were young, like it wasn't as big of a deal to like go buy beer and stuff. And we had one friend, one of my friends, I won't say his name because people know, but he was the guy that looked older. And we would like, you know, on Friday night, we'd be driving all over town, like, you know, up there in Denton,
just seeing
Denton and Lake Dallas, like seeing who would sell to him.
I don't know, like
times were different back then. This is many years ago. Okay, all right. Getting back on Kylie, I kind of derailed our conversation here. Sorry. So the other thing that they were talking about was jaw surgery. I don't really think she had any jaw surgery. I mean, her jawline to me looks pretty similar from start to finish. So I disagree with that one. Maybe some fillers like along her cheekbones. Yeah. I agree with that. The next was a BBL. And this one I don't know about. And so there's a picture. Throw it up, Travis. I think it's the last one. Yeah. So this is a picture of her when she was, I think on the left, she was like, you know, maybe 14. And the later one, she's, you know, 18, I think. And so people were saying, oh, was she, you know, she had a BBL. I mean, I don't know if you can say that for sure. I mean, people's bodies change a lot in their teens. And so, you know, I mean, could that be her natural, you know, buttocks on the right? Sure, it could. I mean, she has personal trainers. She could work out, build her muscles, you know, and also, you know, just become more shapely as she gets older. My one question about her getting a BBL is like, or Brazilian butt lift, which you guys know I don't like Brazilian butt lifts. But one of the issues is that, you know, you have to harvest the fat. She never was really big ever in her life. Like, where would they have gotten the fat to do a BBL on her? I mean, because I've seen pictures of her like in bikinis and stuff. If you over lipo someone, you can generally tell. Like, you can see that someone's been really lipoed hard, and she doesn't look like that to me. I mean,
it hasn't the Kardashians. I mean, not the Kardashians, but hasn't Kim had a BBL?
Yeah, I mean, everyone thinks that.
I mean, their legs look like bean poles, and then their butt comes out of nowhere. So I'm interested to see if that's what. I don't know if there's any pictures of Kylie like that.
No, I mean, there's not. I mean, you can get on her Instagram. She does a lot on Instagram.
Looks a little bit more proportional.
Yeah, I mean, she's more proportional. I mean, you know, she looks more curvy than she did when she was, you know, 14, but who doesn't? I mean, you know, so, I mean, once again, it's kind of like the nose job thing. I kind of think she probably didn't have a BBL, but I mean, it's impossible to tell. I feel about equal on both of those that, you know, that she probably didn't. I feel pretty good about saying that, but I mean, of course, I don't know. I mean, it's impossible to tell unless you see something that's just a dead giveaway. So.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of the surgeries that people are talking about that, you know, she had, and I do think it's important that she is honest because, you know, there's so many people that look up to her, and so, you know, and I've said this in the past that if there's celebrities saying that this is their natural body and it's actually from plastic surgery, then I don't think that's good because it gives people this kind of false idea of what normal is, you know, and so I appreciate that she, you know, said she got a breast augmentation. I think celebrities should be honest about the things that they have, you know, because I mean, people we're going to talk about it anyway, so
yeah,
I want to just be honest. So, all right, well, let me know what you guys think. If anyone out there watching thinks that I'm wrong about her nose job or BBL, let me know. And if you have pictures, I'd love to be proven wrong, but I kind of feel like she hasn't. So, but anyway, all right, moving on. And so this next segment is kind of playing off the segment we did about Kylie Jenner and how she admitted she had breast augmentation, because one of the things that she said was that she regretted having a breast augmentation before she had kids, and she wished she had waited. And so there's Kylie up there, a picture of her. So I think that's a good thing to talk about, and it's something when patients come into my office that are younger, I always inquire about, okay, you know, have you had kids? Are you planning to have kids? Because it does kind of weigh into the idea of having plastic surgery. And so I'd like to just kind of like talk about some of those plastic surgeries that you may or may not consider waiting on.
Yeah.
And so the one that Kylie did, she had a breast augmentation. And so, you know, I would say that the bulk of people I do plastic surgery on are moms who are kind of done having kids. You know, you kind of get this idea it's all like 20-year-olds having plastic surgery, which is not reality, at least around here.
I'm not one of those.
You're not one of those people?
No, I got mine before I had my daughter.
Oh, you did? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I wasn't going to ask you, but if you're going to volunteer.
Yeah.
So you did it beforehand? Yeah. And so,
but people think mine look more natural, though.
Did you have any regrets of doing that before or not?
Well, I was able to breastfeed too.
Right, and you should be able to.
Yeah.
There is so that's one of the concerns when you're talking about breast surgery and before kids. There is a few % risk per side of not being able to breastfeed.
Yeah.
And that depends on exactly what you're doing, but it's a small risk.
But I didn't have any problems with it.
Okay, no. That's great, and that's good. You know, yet I don't want to say that you're lucky, but I mean it could have been a different outcome.
Yeah,
for sure. Because one of the concerns about doing a breast augmentation before kids, as we said, the breastfeeding thing is one. But the fact that you're stretching out your breast with an implant, and then on top of that, you get pregnant and then your breast enlarge, you know, for nursing, it can cause enough change to your breast tissues and the skin on your breast that your breast might end up being saggy if you did the aug before, but if you hadn't done the aug, your breast didn't get stressed out enough and then they return to normal. And so what that boils down to is that, you know, if you do a breast augmentation before kids, a couple things might happen. One, you may have to have another surgery after that to fix things, whether it be to adjust the size, because sometimes your breasts change after nursing and pregnancy. They end up being, you know, bigger or smaller, and it may not end up being the size that you want. Or the other thing is that you may end up get sagging of your breasts, and so you'd have to have a lift, which is fine. I mean, you can do a lift, but it does end up putting some scars on your breast that you may not had to have had if you had waited to do the breast augmentation until after kids. But of course, like everything, there's like pros and cons, right? I mean, you know, being just purely blunt and honest, I mean, there's a lot of girls that want to do something to you know, change themselves before they get married, you know, while they're still dating. You know, it's like, you know, I used to work out a ton before I got married, and I still work out a little bit because I try to stay in shape. But man, I was hitting the gym hard. Man, I need to look good when I was out there, you know, trying to meet people, right? Yeah. I mean, it's a competition, isn't it? And so, but I do have these conversations with people when they come in, specifically for breast augmentation, you know, about you do realize that, you know, when you have kids that things might change. Yeah. And so, and I think most people realize that, or, you know, they hear it, they're like, okay, that makes sense. And, you know, I don't think it changes people's minds a whole lot, you know, because I've never talked to somebody and they say, oh, I didn't think about that. See ya.
Yeah, it didn't change my mind.
Yeah, it didn't change. Did they, so when you went to your consult, if you remember, did they talk to you about the fact?
Yeah, he specifically asked me if I wanted to.
Really? Okay, good. Well, that sounds like
breastfeed and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
that's great. Okay, sounds like your surgeon really was kind of on top of it.
Yeah.
So the other surgeries that you might consider waiting would be like a breast lift.
Yeah.
It's the same reasons. I mean, you're going to do the surgery to make your breast look the way you want, and then pregnancy may change that. And so, you know, that's, I mean, another one that's on the fence, right? Because, you know, if your breasts naturally just have a lot of sag just from genetics, you might feel very self-conscious about them. And I've done lifts on people that haven't had kids before. I mean, most of the people you do lifts on, you're doing them because of pregnancy.
Yeah.
But there are people that just genetically have sagging of their breasts. And so I've done some lifts on people before, and I'm like, look, just be aware that pregnancy may change it. Breast reduction would be the other one. I always kind of lump breast reduction and breast lift together because they're almost identical surgeries, except for the reduction, you take a little tissue out versus a lift, you don't. But otherwise, they're identical. Liposuction's another surgery where it's like, okay, do you want to get your body all contoured the way that you want, and then pregnancy change that? And so, I mean, I'm a little less, aggressive about not talking people out of it, but if somebody came in, they want liposuction for their kids, they just be aware that when you get pregnant, things may change.
Yeah.
I'm
for sure. That's definitely one that I would wait for.
Would you? See, for me, like the breast stuff's worth almost waiting for, just because it might add a whole nother surgery, versus the lipo. It's like,
As if I went to, I don't think I would go to get like another like boob job or anything.
You probably will at some point in your life.
Right now, I'm saying. Like, I'm not married, and I'm like, and I want to have another kid, but like, I'm not gonna go do that right now just because I'm single and like looking, but as a 20-year-old, I was not thinking about kids. I was like, I just want to look cute.
Right.
So
I feel so old sometimes when I'm talking to younger people. I'm like, oh, you got to think about when you get older. And when someone had told me that when I was young, I'd be like, who are you?
Yeah, as a 20-year-old, I was just like, I just want to look cute in this swimsuit or this top.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The one though that probably is the big one would be tummy tucks.
Yeah, that's.
You absolutely do not want to have a tummy tuck before you're done having kids. And so I do tons of tummy tucks. I do probably one a week, and that is something I always ask patients about, like, are you done having kids? And if they say no, I guess maybe I would do the surgery for them, but I would have to counsel them that, look, pregnancy is going to take everything we did and just flush it down the toilet, because things like stretchy skin, tight abdominal wall, I mean, all of that gets altered with pregnancy.
Literally flushed down the toilet, thousands of dollars. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And plus, and those surgeries get harder when you try to redo them, especially tummy tucks. Like I've done redo tummy tucks, not on my own patients, but on people who had them done elsewhere. They're not fun, and the recovery's not fun. I mean, that's a bigger surgery. It's a little bit more rough recovery than like breast surgery. You really just want to do that one time.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important one that,
one of my sisters wants to do that. She's like in this process of losing a bunch of weight.
Oh, is she?
She's taking like
she's
taking one of those shots.
Ozempic? Yeah.
But she got it prescribed like for real reasons, not just to lose weight, but like.
Oh, for diabetes or something? Oh, okay.
To make it to where she doesn't have diabetes, to get her, because she was like right on the line, but she's.
So
she has like a goal. She has a goal of weight loss, and when she hits that goal, she wants to do like a mommy makeover. Yeah, she's already lost 30 pounds.
Nice. That's great. Excellent. Good for her. But yeah, definitely would want to wait until weight stabilized for that. I mean, that's a whole other conversation about when people are losing weight. And
she's like, she's probably not going to do it for like a year or two.
Yeah, you definitely want your weight to be stable. So, but it's an interesting conversation about when to have plastic surgery. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as it's safe, I mean, I don't have a problem doing, plastic surgery on people that have kids. I mean, obviously, but you just do have to consider what the outcome of that would be. And, is that decision going to mean that you're going to have an extra surgery down the road? You just want to be aware of that. And so, if you're thinking about it and you haven't had kids, just make sure that, when you go in and talk to the surgeon, that they kind of give you the information about what does this mean after I get pregnant.
Yeah.
So, 'cause, I mean,
I agree.
There are people out there, that would maybe not even mention that. Just be like, oh yeah, you want this? Let's go do it. Yeah, money, right? Yeah, money. So, but no, it's a good conversation to have. So, all right. Well, leave me a comment if you have questions about plastic surgeries before and after kids. I'd love to hear from you. So, all right, moving on to a completely non-plastic surgery, non-medical.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Non-beauty topic.
I like this.
But we had to talk about this. So, have you guys have heard about the UFO hearings, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Travis?
Yeah, I have. I've heard about them.
All right. So, I mean, we have to talk about this. I mean, this is just crazy stuff, you know, and it's kind of weird. So for those of you guys out there who haven't been watching the news or had seen this specifically, there was actually some congressional hearings that involved questioning these 3 whistleblowers. So these whistleblowers are people that were former military that were making known that there's a lot more to UFOs, unidentified flying objects, than the government is letting on to. And so it's kind of funny that this came up because I have noticed that in the past few years, you see more videos about unidentified flying objects.
Did you see the videos that were in Texas of an unidentified flying object?
Which one?
It's recent. It was like this glowing orb with like this other like halo looking light.
I'm not sure I saw that.
It was in McAllen.
Oh, was it McAllen?
McAllen. Something like that. But anyways, it was like all these other people were saying that it flew over like by them. It's like all over TikTok for like Texas.
Really? I may have seen that when I was doing the research. I didn't pull up any.
It looked really weird.
I was gonna pull some videos of that, but I mean, I didn't. You know, I just wanted to more dig into like the kind of the crazy stuff that they were talking about. But yeah, you're right. Like, there's more videos out there.
Well, yeah, because everybody has a video
right,
literally in their hand.
Right, everyone's got a video camera in their hand. And you hear more things about, okay, this got declassified and the government said that there was this thing and it didn't make any sense. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting or whatever. But I always just kind of thought, well, it's probably some other country's technology or maybe even our own technology that certain branches of the government, you know, the military might not know about. Mm-hmm. But so this UFO hearing happened this past week, and there was 3 retired militaries. One of them was retired Air Force intelligence officer, Major David Grush. And he actually worked in the department at the Pentagon specific for UFOs, which they call them UAPs, which is unidentified anomalous phenomenon. That's it. Thank you, Travis.
You got it.
Thank you, sir. That's why you're here, buddy. So so there's actually a UFO department in the Pentagon, which I didn't know that existed. And this guy decided to be a whistleblower and start talking about all of the crazy stuff that no one knows about, which I'm not sure how the government feels about this. So some of the revelations that this guy, this Major Grush from the Air Force, were talking about was he just flat out said that the U.S. government has in their possession, he calls them UAPs, but UFOs. Yeah. He's like, we have in our possession a UFO. But what? Wait, what?
Like a UFO machine or like an actual like, because I heard them saying like we have taken biologics from the thing, and I'm like, biologics.
So the indication, and there wasn't a lot of detail of exactly what it was, and he couldn't. There was a lot of times when they were asking him questions, he's like, I can't talk about that.
Yeah,
I can't talk about that.
And then like the lady was like, so can you say if it was human or alien?
Right. So you saw it. So that's the clip. That's the next one. Is that the U.S. has retrieved non-human biological remains from the pilots of these things,
and that could be like.
I mean, they're basically saying that they found aliens.
Yeah.
Right?
I really am interested to see what they look like.
So we're going to talk. I have questions for you guys. They're coming up.
What would they look like?
He also said that the U.S. government operates a reverse engineering program for this UFO tech. Like this is a guy that is like, you know, testifying under oath in front of Congress. And then lastly, it's even crazier, is he said that people have been silenced that we're trying to talk about.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I was like, I guess they didn't threaten him enough.
Yeah, I mean, this guy better.
He might have not had, like, does he have a family? He might not have a family. He might not have anything to lose, you know?
I don't know, man. It's just crazy. So I watched all of those hearings. It was like 2 hours long. I didn't watch every last minute, but I did watch over an hour of it. And, you know, those were the 4 highlights, him talking about we have UFOs, we have aliens, we're engineering their tech, and also that people are being silenced for talking about this, and it's just like mind blown, right? So this brings up a lot of like questions. So I'm asked you guys, like, Travis, did you hear about these things? Like, all right, and I know you heard about. So does this change your mind about like what you maybe formerly believed about? You know, is there alien life out there? Like, does this testimony?
It doesn't change anything because I've always thought there was.
Okay, so that's a good point. And so I'm with you, Sarah. And that's the next question is, do you believe intelligent life exists?
It just makes me be like, so the government just lies to us.
So I was right, yeah. So I do believe that there's intelligent life out there. I think it's just crazy that in this galaxy of 400 billion systems just like ours, that there's not some life out there. Now,
but then at the same time, it's like if there's actually aliens coming to our planet, it's like they are probably so much more far advanced that like coming to us is like going to a zoo.
Exactly, right? It's kind of frightening because if they have the ability, because the aliens don't live on Mars.
Yeah.
They don't live on Mars.
They live in a
they live from like a
solar system probably.
Right, which means that they have the ability to travel
Light
faster
years.
than the speed of light.
Yeah.
Which means that their tech is like, we're like...
they travel through the loop, those black holes in the space.
You think so?
I mean, I don't know why you
Travis,
wouldn't.
weigh in, man. What are we talking crazy here, or like?
No, I've always believed in aliens, and I know. I think with those like 3 specific guys who testified in Congress, whatever like branch that they were like testifying about, they did come out and say that they were lying. They were like, we don't have any kind of like UFOs. We don't know what they're talking about. But I, of course, believe those guys. Honestly.
You believe what they're saying is true?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I believe them.
I mean, I don't know. So here's my thing. Like, I've always believed that there's life out there, right? I just cannot believe that we're the only thing out there.
Right.
But the thought that that life is coming and visiting us has always been like a hard swallow for me, because I mean, I just feel like there would be more concrete proof in that it would be hard to cover that up,
Yeah.
But then again, if they're so advanced that they could come here, you think probably they're invisible, right? Their ships could be invisible. I mean,
Sure.
If they can travel faster than light, they probably can put a cloaking device on there, like in Star Trek. Maybe they are.
But I think they only show us what they want to show us. You know what I mean? Like,
What's their game though? All right, so let's just say, okay, there are
there's this funny TikTok of this girl being like, "Why are you so shy, aliens? Like, why are you being so coy?
Dude, come hang out. Let's have a beer, man.
Like
I want to get an alien drunk.
Like, you want us to chase you?
They
Like-
came light years away for a Coors Light.
I'll buy him like a fancy beer. It doesn't have to be Coors Light. I'll get him like a Shiner
A
box.
Shiner?
Yeah, a Shiner.
They came
I'll
light
give you
years away
some
for a Shiner.
tequila.
So yeah, I mean, there's
the
so
worm.
many questions that have opened up here. It's like, what? Okay, if they are coming here, and what are they doing? Is it like when you go whale watching?
They're abducting
Is it a
you,
tour?
I guess?
Is it like, when you go on vacation and they take you out in a boat and you look at whales?
I will say this.
Is it alien tours?
Sarah put it to me a way I didn't think. We are like zoo animals.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like, what if that's the purpose? Like, they're like, here, it's our yearly field trip for our second graders to Earth.
I mean, is it like a safari? Are they like
And then they're like,
antagonists?
that one looks really sad. Let's take it home and put it in our zoo at our house.
It's where all these
That
abducted
one looks
people.
like sad.
Man, I'm not
We'll
looking
take
sad
care
when I'm
of it.
outside. They're gonna beam me up, man. I'm like, no thanks. I'm like saying no to the probes.
And then I listened to a podcast about it, and then they were talking about like, and what is it with like aliens always putting stuff up your butt and all that kind of stuff? And then they're like talking about.
I think that
like,
they're high tech enough. They don't have to put something up your butt.
I'm
They
like,
could probably
I think
just
it's
scan
just
you with a
weirdos.
wand or something.
I can see Dr. Hermann getting like the beam.
Yeah, like, no!
He's like, I forgot the blue moon. Wait,
Wait, I bring gifts.
I forgot the blue moon.
Y'all want a beer or something?
So, I mean, all right, I'm going to try and bring the real, I'm reeling things in here. I'm going to reel it in a little bit. So, okay, if they have aliens, I'm dying to know, like you said, what do they look like? Are they humanoid? Or
Yeah, do they look like the gray things that we were
right,
told?
like the Area 51 kind of aliens?
Or
Like,
do they look like humans?
or do they look like squids? I mean,
Yeah,
what
because
are
people say octopus and octopi.
what is their
or
DNA
whatever.
like? Do they have the same DNA that we have? Or do they
Yeah.
have some like really weird...
Or are they like Superman, and when they come to the Earth, they're like super powered?
Right, exactly. And so I was thinking about that because it sounds silly, right, to say,
Like
okay, do the aliens
superhumans.
have superpowers? But think about it this way: like if like a worm that has no eyes, were suddenly to become sentient, and you said, oh, I can see, they'd be like, what does that even mean? Like, see, they have no idea.
Yeah.
Like the aliens could bend crap with their mind, and we just,
That's just part of who they are.
that's just part of who they are, right?
Yeah.
So there's just so many questions that have popped up because of this, and I don't think enough people are talking about it. I mean, basically, some guy came out and said there's aliens out there.
I think it's so difficult to think about.
To wrap your head around.
And like sometimes, like because I live kind of like away from the city a little bit. So sometimes like, you know, at the end of the night, you like look up at the sky and you think about, like you see this like light and you're like,
am I getting beamed up?
Like, no, not like that, but like stars, just like stars,
right.
like looking at stars and you're just like.
Yeah, there's just so much out there.
Am I seeing like this star's light from like 5 million years ago?
You are. I'm really into like
then,
astronomy,
like,
so like,
I know,
I
but
like geek out on
it's
that
just
stuff.
so weird, and then you get like, my brain's tired. I don't want to think about this anymore. Like you're like, it's pretty. That's enough.
Yeah, it's hard to
Think
fathom that, you know, when you look at something, you know, in the sky like that, you're actually looking at the past, because it takes millions of years for the light to reach you. You know, just like the sun, it takes 8 minutes. Like you're looking at the sun 8 minutes ago. The sun could have exploded and we could all be dead in like 5 minutes. And,
Oh my God.
yeah, it's hard to think
Watch
about.
out.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's the last show ever.
Oh.
I did not know that.
Yeah, 8 minutes. How long is it? How long it takes
That on Netflix, there's this documentary about the telescope that they put up into the.
Yeah, the not the Hubble, but the other one.
Yeah, it's like the
new
most.
one. The Higgs. No, it's not Higgs. Is it Higgs Boson? No, that's
I don't know.
different.
It's like the most advanced telescope they've ever
Dude,
put in there.
It has some.
And they
I
were like,
love this
literally,
stuff.
when we put this up in space, it's literally like we're going to be looking at the past.
Yeah, like millions
back
of years
in
ago.
time. This is our own.
It makes your head hurt when you start thinking about it.
Like time machine, and I was like, oh.
I think though that the take-home message from this segment is that aliens are just out on safari. You know?
Literally.
Like they're like, there's like rich aliens.
They're on their second grade field trip.
Yeah, or it could be a field trip, and they're like, we're coming to see the animals at the Earth Zoo.
Let's see if they've evolved to what we are
Let's see if
now.
they've got any. Nope, and they're still terrible.
No, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, if you're watching this and you have any thoughts about the aliens, I would love to hear them. I'm open. At this point, I'll believe anything. Like,
You know what? Oh, sorry.
No,
I'm
go ahead.
going to go off on another friggin' tangent.
No,
okay, I
what
just
do you
thought
got?
about this. What if the things that are coming to see us are humans from the future that have gotten away from Earth and they're coming back
gosh,
to look at us to be like, this is where we went wrong, and they're trying to fix it.
dude, that is brilliant. I mean, you just blew my mind, Sarah. You could be right. It could be us from the future. I never thought about that. So they're time travelers.
Yeah, and they're like,
So when
they're trying to fix stuff
Yeah, right.
to make it to where we don't like destroy Earth.
There's a bunch of movies about that.
Is there a movie about that?
Yeah, there is. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll look it up. I'll let you
I don't know. Interesting.
All right.
Sorry.
This has been one of my favorite segments we've done in a long time, so I loved it. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much. We'll get you next week on Nip Talk. See you then.